Studio Galaxy in Confero, hope you know. 473 standing strong is yours, you know. The medium and opportunity for you. Make your contribution, let them know. Democracy in Spice Isles is alive and well. Ask you questions, sing and beat you drum. Make you suggestions, encourage them on to walk the straight and narrow in the land. Dawla, politics, religion and economic issue, regional, international, spiritual issues too, agricultural, environmental and trending to subject matter. We fear none, we back down. Freedom of speech is enshrined in the land. God, we freedom, jealous and they in Cuba, Russians and Chinese and lucky like we. Right now, North Korea, wish they had it too. Most of the Caribbean, lucky like we. Studio Galaxy Day for you and me. Galaxy equalizer, ready like Freddy. And Studio Galaxy 473 in Confero. We freedom of speech is sacrosanct. Make use of it, let no one challenge. Blow your shell, beat your drum, tell others. Like and share, subscribe and discuss it too. Let the world know Studio Galaxy is around.
Welcome brothers, welcome sisters to our midweek program on Studio Galaxy 473. This is about the third in our midweek program when we continue to discuss issues that are affecting us in Grenada here and the Caribbean. We are the Studio Galaxy 473 in Confero. And today the topic is why so much contention, so much confusion, and unproductive homes? We speak because we concern and we provoke discussion. We do not have answers, but we believe that if we discuss issues, our people will be able to address the challenges facing us. And one of the challenges we believe that faces us today is disharmony in the home, contention in the home, confusion in the home, and unproductive homes. And we don't find there is any infrastructure, a material justification for these issues. In yesteryear, we blame poor infrastructure. We blame history. We blame uneducated parents. We blame not enough opportunities. In Grenada today, I believe that we are better than most, comparable with the best, and second to none, where electricity, telephone, water, and internet accessibility is concerned. We believe that more than 90% of our people have access to electricity, water, communication, telephone, internet. We have some of the best network of roads in the region. And the roads are relatively good. Perhaps we have more vehicles than anybody else in the Caribbean. I have some information coming from the statistic division that more than 60 registered vehicles in Grenada. A country with generally 100,000 people have more than 60,000 registered vehicles. As soon as you reach in Grenada, you could see the evidence of the abundance of vehicles. The days when you play cricket on the road in Grenada is unheard of, no more. All in rural Grenada, the traffic is too much for you to be playing on the road. Then why, with all these material things that are available now, why is it our homes is like a battleground? Confusion, contention, disharmony, and unproductive homes. There are some instances where you even have violence in the home. You have people complaining of abuse of children in the house, abuse of spouse in the house. I have not been hearing any cry from those who are perhaps better trained, better informed, better cultured to speak on these topics. But as a small nation, I'm concerned. Just a couple days ago, Trinidad returned to state of emergency because of violence in the country. Jamaica, for a long while, I don't know if they still have it, was running a number of police division by state of emergency. Small countries, where if you meet 10 persons that you never met before in Grenada, I'm willing to bet you, when you start to speak to them, there is laughter and harmony, because somebody must be related to somebody. Maybe some of our psychologists, maybe some of our social scientists should be discussing issues and trying to help the home. If you have too much of weak families, weak homes, you're going to end up with more social problems. There are some schools of thought that say more than 60% of the household in Grenada are led by women. There are other authorities that tells you that the majority of young people, particularly boys, that comes in front of the police, that is in prison, that are regular customers to the court, come from single homes. We can ignore these things. It's not in our interest. We have invested too much on education. Too much. Grenada today, I believe we have enough school buildings in Grenada. Our schools are well staffed. And our educators are better certificated than any other time in our history. They are better paid So there should be more satisfaction, more passion to succeed. So I ask the question, why is it so much contention in our home? Why is it so much confusions in our home? Why is it so much disharmony in our home? And our homes are more unproductive. So maybe we need to look at it. We can't just recognizing that we have problems and not prepare to discuss it. How do we encourage the man and the woman in the house, the spouse, husband and wife, or man and woman, to discuss issues in the home? I notice there is a serious drop in people who get married. A lot of couples are together, but they're not married. They have relationship. 1 foot in the pond, 1 foot outside the pond. They're not getting in the center of the pond at all. The woman there on one side of the pond, she pushing 1 foot inside the pond. The man on one side of the pond, he putting 1 foot inside the pond. Some of them have been together for 15, 20 years plus. And if you speak to them, they have never discussed the issue of marriage. Why do I use the word marriage? Because marriage seems to be the ultimate commitment. When a man say, that is the woman I want to live with for the rest of my life, so I'm going to marry her. Or a woman say, I have no intention of going anywhere again. I want to live with that man. So I believe we should make the ultimate commitment. We should jump in the center of the pond and we should swim together. More and more, we are not having that in Grenada. Even if more of our men and women are highly certificated, they ought to know better. I said to some young girls and 1 or 2 boys that was in the group, I believe that when you decide to glue on or hatch on in a relationship and you make the decision, I want that woman or I want that man, you should plan for 100 years. Because obviously, the physical characteristics of the individuals would change. The woman that was looking like a Spanish guitar or Coke bottle, after a couple of years, she go look as a sugar jar. What you going to do? You're going to walk away from her? The man that was so strong and energetic, after some times, he's going to walk slower. His face is going to change. What you going to do? Walk out of the relationship. You must be prepared to sit down and listen to one another and discuss issues without all this confusion and contention. I've often asked the question, what are we making all this confusion for? What all this contention for? Because I've already said, we have better communication, we have electricity, we have telephone, we have internet. Everybody has cell phones. Most people have 2 cell phones. Some of them from the same company, but they have 2. Money doesn't seem to be the problem. How money could be the problem? If you have 100,000 people and you have more than 60,000 registered vehicles, then how money is the problem? Money is coming in the home. more money is coming into the home than yesteryear. The social programs in the country are stronger today than yesteryear. Organizations and governments are giving out more gifts or more charitable. They are making more contributions to people who need than yesteryear. When Christmas time comes, you could hardly have a family that is crying out that didn't get a little thing. So the issue is not money. So why is it so much disharmony? We have a lot of churches in Grenada. I believe most of the churches you have drop in the number of people who go to church. That is a fact. The evangelicals and the Adventist churches might be better attended and attract more young people. The Catholics have their numbers, but I think the Adventists and the evangelicals perhaps attract more people. The pastors are jumping up, speaking about love. More war in the house, more contention in the house. So some effort have to be made to address these issues. Because although you have a unit, they're not building homes. Homes are not being built. Now, who suffer when you have a home with plenty confusion and contention? Who suffers? The man, the woman, the children, everybody suffers. Everybody suffers. The woman is more unhappy. And if the woman is unhappy, the man is unhappy too. And remember, I said before that 60% of the household are led by women. It's not that those women don't have access to men. They have access to men. They could get any amount of money they want. But they do not have the support in the house. They do not have the support in the house. So the man pass. And when he pass, it's like you have a man, but the man is a tourist. When he comes, he laugh and smile. In Grenada, they say everybody must greet the tourist. But he's not there for long. And then you are left without a man that gives you support. What's about a man? When you do not have a woman who supports you, and the woman become a tourist too. One close, humorous friend always say, when we see, we smile. I like that. When we see, we smile. He's the consummate bachelor. When we see, we smile. What's about the children? What do you think is happening to the children that are growing up in homes that is very contentious, with confusion? What do you think is happening? Sometimes tears come to the children's eyes because every time they sit, the spouse in the house, the mother and the father, is at war. Or the mother and the stepfather is fighting. Or the stepmother and the stepfather is fighting. What do you think happened to the boys that grew up in these homes? Some of them don't even want to see the father. Because when the relationship is fragile, sometimes the woman finds comfort in attacking the son for the man. I don't think it's malicious. It's not malicious. But maybe she sees all the anger and all the rage that comes, that she believes the father is contributing to her. She takes it out on the son. And sometimes the men, sometimes it's not malicious, but sometimes it's deliberate. Some of the men deliberate play the game where they use the child as a pawn. They say, don't let nobody touch you. So they constantly put that child against whoever stepfather that comes in the house. Don't let him touch you. He's not your father. So a clear line of demarcation is drawn in that house, where the stepchildren is not cooperating or not contributing with his stepfather or mother. And they are well supported by the parents from outside. No, sometimes it seems that we forget. We are sowing the seed of discord and disharmony in the house. And we are so angry, we are so upset that we doesn't realize that we are seriously affecting the children. I heard a simple story from a very distressed woman who, I say sometimes, constantly act like a referee. In the house, she seems like a referee in a game of rowdy boxing match between her husband, her spouse, and his stepchildren, or her children and she man. She have to put peace. So she become the referee. And particularly as the children get bigger. And the man recognize the woman is a referee, so he play a nice psychological game. He would not be home too early, because if the boys might kill him if he home early. So he comes with the mother. And he pretends to be nice and innocent. And the woman become a very unhappy soul, because she become a referee. How does she choose between her children and her man? She's trying to put both of them at ease. It's not an easy job. I've heard a story where an individual who is well-learned, well-educated, decides that when he flows in with his nice motor car, he calls his child and sit in the vehicle with the child. And whatever food stuff he brings, he let the child eat it in the vehicle. Don't bring it in the house. Because the three members in the house, the other 3 children in the house that does not belong with him, would get peace. And the children would stay in the house and watch him park in the road, because the house is not far from the road, and eat that which he brings. And you know when you're smelling a nice barbecue. And when later on she found out that the other 3 children was beating the bigger one, they gang up on him. And no matter what you tell that father, he doesn't care. He wants to destroy your home. Now, who could reach our homes? Are there enough voices in our country trying to reach homes to make people understand better? Sometimes I see some women and I'm sorry for them. I see them like athletes They get up in the morning and they race into reach in their workplace, particularly if they're doing the long distance from Ticolo to St. George's. And sometimes they have to put the baby in the daycare or at somebody's home, which is tantamount to the daycare. To reach in St. George's at 8 o'clock. And to come back in the evening about 6. And to come back in the home because they have to do the job. Now, what are we doing to our home? What assistance people have? What counseling? What programs on radio? Government information service? What programs are there to help people deal with these things? Bombs are not falling in Grenada as in Iran and other countries now. So we are very fortunate. And as I said before, we can't blame infrastructure. And I believe a lot more money is coming to the home than yesteryear. And I spoke already about the energy, the electricity, the telephone, the water, the internet. But is it our culture? What is required? Is it a change of attitude? We ought to have done better because we are better schooled, we are better certificated, and we're supposed to be better educated. We even have less members of our family today. In yesteryear, the average member of a family maybe 5 or 6. You had women having 14 children. I know 1 or 2 cases where women have 20 children. But a lot was about 5 and 6. The numbers of children in Grenada, I don't know, maybe it's about 2 or 3 per family. But yet, the conflicts in the home are no less. Do we encourage men? How do we reach men to encourage them to be more responsible? To try to bring more love and harmony in the home. To be more tolerant and patient. And do not hesitate to seek counseling. Sometimes our men are very egoistic and a lot of pride. And we feel we is the man and we are dons. So we run away. Some of our men are so much dons, they run away. I remember one man saying to me, this house on the hill there, that's my prison. He said, no, that's my prison. He said, could you imagine? I went in the bank and I take a loan and I build my own prison. So he tried to go to in the house late and leave early. When you watch the system in Grenada, it seems that the men are running. They surrender, they give up, and they're running. Well, if the men are running, it means the boys will run too. And what happened to our girls? What could we do to encourage less contention, less confusion, and more harmony in the home? I have often asked people, what are we fighting for? Not you. What are we fighting for? Is it about to improve our education? Are we making noise to improve, to live better lives in terms of our health? Is it about to consume better nutritious food? Is it about our God? And I have never heard any fight in house or confusion in house about these factors. People are not quarreling whether we should love God or serve God more. Some people go to church, some don't go. Those who don't go to church, sometimes they speak about God. You believe they are the pastors. They quote in Bible everything, but they just don't go into church. And some who go to church, they're making confusion too. I don't hear people quarreling in the house about we must serve God more. I don't hear people quarreling in the home about how to improve the health, more nutritious food, more healthy practice. This thing is not causing conflict in the house. I'm not hearing people quarreling about improving education, that you must go to school and it's important for you to study. I'm not hearing conflict about that. In fact, I'm worried. I'm very worried that the home is not become lackadaisical. They cannot be bothered about education. I don't see parents in Grenada hungry for education for their children. And the majority of people, parents who have children in school today, been to institutes of higher learning. So they better poise. They ought to understand more the value of education. But I don't see any serious hunger in parents for education in Grenada. I've said repeatedly and on many forums that more than 70% of the children that exit school cannot meet the minimum requirement. And I don't find parents care. I don't see parents investing in music or investing in providing additional lessons for children. Sometimes on a Saturday or holiday, you see one or two children going to lessons. And when you look at them, kind of matter of a fact, I don't see no urgency and no genuine inclination in them to go for lessons. And the parents doesn't seem as if they bother. So why? What are we fighting for in the house? So it means the things we are fighting for in the house are not very important. It's not very significant. What is going to happen to our country if we continue on that trajectory? What is going to happen? Now, who is responsible? I ask this question, who is responsible to address these issues in Grenada? Obviously, the government would say it's not me. Obviously, the schools would say that is not my problem. And some parents would say, I'm doing my best. We have a word we say in Grenada that you can't make blood out of stone. I've always taken issue with that statement. And I said, you could command the mountains to move if you believe, if you have faith like a mustard seed. And since we profess to be Christians, we ought to believe. Is at this time, I ask, where are our psychologists? We have invested immense energy in training people in psychology and management. What is going on in the home? Is it a management problem? Is it a mental problem? The confusion, the contention, the conflicts Is it a mental problem? What could we do to tar the process? Could we do to change that contentious dynamics that goes on in the home? And obviously, it has serious consequences. A small country like Grenada, we have too much vagrants. Sometimes we take it as a joke. The vagrants, they beg you for $1. And some of them very romantic and humorous in their begging. And they remind you, you and I was at school together. You gave me a ride the other day. They develop all kind of ingenuity to woo you, to force you to give them money. And generally, I believe people are very generous. The people wouldn't look for them to give them a meal. But if they come to the people, they wouldn't go hungry. I've met other vagrants who do not beg. They say, well, if I beg you, they make me shame. So they say they go in the garbage. When you throw it, they take it and eat it. That must be sad. And that must be worrying. And then we have the issue of drugs. One vagrant tell me it's not drug use, it's drug abuse. I ask him how much you take a day. He tell me it depends on how much money he have. So if he have money to buy 9, he buy 9. I say, well, what happens if you have money to buy 15? He said, better yet. So he take drugs based upon the money he has. And because they don't have the money to satisfy the habit, they borrow from anybody who have. They borrow your figure, your blogger. Sometimes they borrow their mother's cylinder and they sell it. And sometimes they sell it for $5 or $10. And we have a society outside there that will buy this cylinder for $10. It's $100 for a cylinder. But the guy only wants a fix now. The numbers are growing. The numbers are growing. Most of the people are involved in that are on coke. They are not really rum drinkers. They are on coke. You don't see them drunk. They have a lot of energy. They move around. They might purchase Coke Cousin. There is a rum called Coke Cousin. I wouldn't tell you the official name. They will purchase that. But you will never see them drunk. It seems that all the energy they have is to get another fix. So when they get a fix in the morning, they are preoccupied with another fix. And for the whole day, they're on the search for another fix. Are we closing our eyes to these issues in Grenada? Why is it the number of young men are increasing? And now we have some women joining the gang. They're on drugs. And it saddens your heart when the little sisters get on drugs. It saddens your heart. You may not see them as aggressively begging on the street, because they may be more welcoming for the males in the community to provide for them. And the males will provide the drugs for them. And they may be kept busy. And then one male get fed up, and another one take on the task. Why are we closing our eyes? Why do we not face these realities, brainstorm, and make effort to address it? We would not be able to completely solve the problem in the country, but we could significantly reduce the number of people that are affected. And when you chase back the homes that they come from, you see a pattern. You see a pattern. The most of them come from homes where the mother and the father is not present. Most of them come from the homes where there were plenty confusion and contention and disharmony. Most of them come from the homes where they could not have maintained the habit and they did not get counseling and attention. So the dignity was devastated and lost. Where are we going? We are a small nation, and the percentage of people that are affected is worrying. Who is to solve the problem? Where are we going to start? And on this point, we could well look at the unproductive homes, economically unproductive homes. Now, if the middle class is shrinking, more and more we have more poor people in the country. And it's not because money is not coming to the pocket, you know. Some of these poor people have a lot of money coming in the pocket. But remember, it's not how much money come in your pocket. It's what you do with the money that come in your pocket. Let me repeat that. It's not the amount of money that pass your way. It's what you do with the money that pass your way. So you find these families that may have a house. They have electricity. They have telephone. They have water. They have internet. They have microwave. They have other gadgets in the home. Money is passing in the home. But if you look at the home and the people in the home, because you live in a community, you know in 10 or 15 years, this home will be wrecked. And some of the paraphernalia, some of the gadgets, some of the things in the home will be sold. And a number of the children in the home would be vagrants. They would be in jail. Or the women in the home will be worse off in poverty. You don't have to believe me when I speak. Just look in your community. Watch the young men in your community. And imagine what would be the situation 10 years from now or 20 years from now. Watch the 5 and 10-year-old now and imagine what would happen in the next 20 years. What some of the progressive homes in your community? You could use Komande. You could use Tikolo. Watch the progressive homes, those homes you believe that are progressive. Cars parked in the yard. And ask yourself, in the next 20 years, what would happen to these homes? Because the writing is on the wall. The money that passes in these yards doesn't stay. It doesn't make more. our people seems not to have a culture of making money make more. They seems not to have a culture of getting money to work for you. They seems not to have a culture. They don't believe in investing money. They buy consumer goods and they flaunt it around. So the young man with a nice car becomes a don. Nowadays, they flaunt more. You see some nice expensive gold chain round the neck. One friend told me the last time it's not gold. It's gold plated. I was concerned that somebody might, when he reach home, he might not see his head. Somebody might take the chain away. But the guy says gold plated. But it seems that they have a sense of inner satisfaction with gold or gold plated gold. It seems that they can impress a lot of women with gold or gold plated gold. It seems that they never put their foot in the pond to have any commitment in relationship. And they have plenty gold. Now, where are we going? Where are our managers or economists? Because if a man is managing a credit union and he's managing the bank and he's managing big business and he's an SCS in government office and he's big involved, he's supposed to know that if money is not working for you, then money will not stay around you. You don't have investment. You see some young people with nice cars. Those cars look good. They do not believe in land or property. They do not believe in further advancing their skills and talents. They are using these material things to impress. I don't know who they're impressing. Maybe their friends and their co-friends. What happened when you buy a vehicle for $100,000 5 years after? Do you have the ability to buy another vehicle? Or do you have to buy a bike or cycle? Is economic issues discussed in the house? So the mother and the father and the children sit down and discuss those issues in the house. Maybe if these things was discussed in the house, there would have been less conflict. The two spouses in the house and are trying to avoid, say, husband and wife, because more and more husband and wife getting fewer and fewer. But the spouse in the house, do they ever sit down and discuss economic development, economic issues? Do they ever sit down and discuss that? What are we going to invest in so that in the 5, 10, 20 years from now, we could make more money? Or when we retire, or when we reach the age that we become incapacitated and we are able to work from paycheck to paycheck, that we have a source of income coming in. Do we ever sit down with children and discuss at what age your child should get involved in business? Do we sit down and discuss that? The individuals who have homes and so much of contention, so much of confusion, so much of unproductive home. Have you ever sit down and thought that if I spend 1 hour a day investing in a project that it might be beneficial to me tomorrow. 1 hour a day. That is 7 hours a week. Well, that's a lot. So let us say 2 hours a week. I invest my time for 120 minutes a week. Invest it into a project. One may ask, what could I invest in just 2 hours? Maybe 2 hours planting flowers around your house. 2 hours planting flowers. Maybe 2 hours investing in your pets. Because everybody have dogs in Grenada. Not everybody, but a lot of people have dogs, particularly in rural Grenada. Some of them they never touch the dog. Some of them, they call the dog run. But they have dogs. So maybe you could invest in a dog and train it and, teach it to do a little tricks and that might raise something. Maybe you could invest in some academic issue. Maybe you could invest in music. For 2 hours a day, the family sit together and we learn to blow the shell. And I always use the shell because it is so cheap as an instrument. It's just about $5 for shell. And you get the chance to eat the corn or the lamb being it. It's all about changing the dynamics. Too much conflicts in the home. If you live along the shoreline and your spouse is a fisherman or fisher folk, maybe you sit down and listen to the stories on the sea. Some of them have some beautiful stories. Because these people go out on the sea on a daily basis. Do the rest of the family ever listen to the adventure on the sea? Some of them get lost on the sea. Some of them nearly die. To hear some of the stories, you have to go by the bayside. Sometimes they kicks in on a brother because he cry. 5 boatmen went out to look for him, Some of them was crying too, But when they kicks in, they call him back and say, oh, he cry. It's one of the main the ways men have in kind of therapeutic in addressing these. Do family members sit down and listen to stories from the fisherman or the story from the hunter? Have we ever thought about, instead of so much conflict, the family one of these days go by the river and fish and cook and fish? What is going on with our homes? Where help is going to come? I speak to provoke discussion. And I do hope that those of higher learning may see the necessity to raise it. Where are our counselors? I know government is paying a lot of counselors in schools. I see 1 or 2 counseling. And when you watch the counselor's life, the counselors in their home is like water. You live in a community, so you know what the homes are. Even the counselors war in the house. Well, how effective you could be as a counselor if you're not able to practicalize what you're telling the children? What is wrong with us? Should pastors and preachers, and I guess they do, but maybe they need to put some more emphasis on some practical suggestion to encourage people to stop all this fighting in the home. What you fighting for? Food? Obviously, the provider in the house must provide for themselves if they're able to provide for your family. And I don't think any man should quarrel about food. I've learned from a farmer that there are 3 things you must plant in your land. first three things. He said the first one is cucumber. That bear very quickly. He said sugar cane and then watermelon. He said you could never be hungry. So you don't have to bother with anybody for food. When you get up in the morning and you go in the land, you could come back in the night. That's an interesting way to put it. But I know there are too much contention, too much confusion, and definitely our homes are too unproductive. I want to thank you for spending this moment with me. And on Wednesdays, we'll pay attention to some of the issues that affect us directly and what could we do. Generally, we provoke discussion. We do hope people would sit down and try to hold discussion among themselves and address some of the problems that we have. We cannot, we should not continue to be having all this contention, all this confusion, and we become too unproductive. Because if in the future we will be too vulnerable, too poor, and we definitely are not helping to prepare our children for the next generation. We want to thank you very much. That is Studio Galaxy 473 coming from Confer. See you next Wednesday.
And trending to subject matter, we fear none, we back down. Freedom of speech is enshrined in the land. God, we freedom. Jealous and they in Cuba, Russians and Chinese and lucky like we. Right now, North Korea wish they had it too. Most of the Caribbean lucky like we. Studio Galaxy Day for you and me. Galaxy equalizer ready like Freddy. And Studio Galaxy 473 in Confer. We freedom of speech is sacrosanct. Make use of it. Let no one challenge. Blow your shell. Beat your drum. Tell others. Like and share. Subscribe and discuss it too. Let the world know Studio Galaxy is around.